Hello everyone, how are you? Russian losses have exceeded 77,000 soldiers. Ukraine's armed forces have killed another 710 Russian occupiers over the past 24 hours. The total losses of the occupiers currently amount to 77,170 killed invaders. I will convey to you today's important developments, and I'll look into what might be on the map. If you want the war to end, I would appreciate it if you like the video and comment. Don't hold back your support and let's show our stance. Source: the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Facebook. Details: total combat losses of the Russian forces between the 24th of February and the 8th of November 2022 are estimated to be as follows. Figures in parentheses represent the latest losses. Ed. Russia's war on Ukraine. Latest news: Zelensky open to genuine talks with Moscow. Ukraine's president says open to genuine negotiations ahead of his address to world leaders at a global climate summit on Tuesday. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said his country is willing to consider genuine negotiations with Russia. Zelensky said his country is open to talks with Moscow if Ukraine's borders are restored, victims of Russia's invasion and attacks are compensated, and efforts are made to hold perpetrators accountable. The president's comments follow a Washington Post report that said that the United States wanted Ukraine to show willingness for peace talks. That willingness, according to the report, would strengthen international support for Kyiv. The head of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council, Alexei Danilov, said the main condition for such consideration would be the restoration of Ukraine's territorial integrity. Danilov added that there needs to be some sort of guarantee of modern air defenses, aircraft, tanks and long-range missiles, expressing a call for continued international assistance. Ammunition. Nuclear weapons. North Korea denied U.S. claims Tuesday that it is assisting Russia with artillery shells and ammunitions in furthering the war on Ukraine. U.S. intelligence recently confirmed that Russia has reached out to North Korea for rockets and artillery shells. The isolated country has been conducting dozens of tests, including nuclear-capable missiles with the ability to strike the United States. North Korea has threatened the U.S. with its missiles and artillery, claiming it could mercilessly strike neighboring South Korean and U.S. targets. A Russian newspaper claimed Tuesday that a discussion on strategic nuclear weapons between U.S. and Russia are in the works. The Kherson newspaper quoted 4 sources familiar with the discussions and said the talks may take place in the Middle East. New START treaty talks between the U.S. and Russia aimed at reducing nuclear arsenals have been stalled since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24. Ukraine's defense. Ukraine received its first delivery of National Advanced Surface-to-Air Missile Systems and Spied Air Defense Systems Monday in its fight against Russian forces. We will continue to shoot down the enemy targets attacking us. Thank you to our partners, Norway, Spain and the U.S., Ukrainian Minister of Defense Alexei Reznikov wrote on Twitter. Meanwhile, Britain's defense ministry said Tuesday that Russia has started constructing defensive structures around the occupied southern Ukrainian city of Mariupol. 2 plants are producing concrete pyramidal anti-tank structures, known as Dragon's Teeth, for this purpose, Britain said in an update posted on Twitter. Russia is fortifying its lines throughout areas of occupation. On the 19th of October 2022, Wagner Group owner Yevgeny Prigozhin claimed the construction of a fortified Wagner line of defenses in Russian-occupied Luhansk Oblast, the statement read, adding, "This activity suggests Russia is making a significant effort to prepare defenses in depth behind their current front line, likely to forestall any rapid Ukrainian advances in the event of breakthroughs." Defense Ministry uses martial law to seize oligarchs' assets. The Ukrainian government's clampdown on strategic companies owned by oligarchs was swift and unexpected. Invoking special provisions under martial law, the Defense Ministry seized 5 companies associated with controversial businessmen Ihor Kolomoisky, Kostyantin Zhevago, Konstantin Grigorishin, and Vyacheslav Bohushlayev. The companies seized include fossil fuel companies Ukernafta and Ukrtatnafta, truck company Avtu Kur-Az, industrial power transformer producer Zaporizh Transformator, and aircraft engine producer Motorsich. Alexei Danilov, the secretary of the National Security and Defense Council, said on November 7 that the move was made under wartime laws in connection with military necessity. According to Defense Minister Alexei Reznikov, the move is not a nationalization, but rather a wartime decision, and all the companies will be returned to their owners once martial law is no longer in place. Every oligarch on the list has faced legal issues at least once in his career. Most recently on October 23, Ukrainian authorities detained Bohushlayev, the head of now nationalized Motor Sich, for allegedly collaborating with Russia. Ukraine's security service said Bohuslayev's arrest is part of a criminal case on Motor Sich's illegal supply of military equipment for Russian attack aircraft. The company's leadership is accused of cooperating with representatives of the Russian state-owned Rostec Defense Enterprise, one of the main producers of weapons for the Russian military. Yet, despite former owners having dubious reputations in a long trail of criminal proceedings, the decision to place private stakes under the control of the Defense Ministry has raised eyebrows in the business community. The move creates a dangerous precedent, Andriy Boytsin, the editor of Ukrainian state-owned enterprises weekly, told the Kyiv Independent. You get more and more state-owned companies in a military economy where decisions are taken directly by the government, he said. You must be very cautious about moving towards a Soviet economy. I will not be surprised if Ukraine has just shot itself in the leg, he added. Kolomoisky's loss. The oligarchs stripped of their assets on November 6 will hardly receive sympathy in Ukraine. For Kolomoisky, it's not the first time his assets were taken by the state. Kolomoisky and his business partner Hennady Boholubev were once the owners of Privat Bank, Ukraine's largest financial institution. In December 2016, during then-President Petro Poroshenko's tenure, the state nationalized Privat Bank, on the verge of bankruptcy. According to an independent audit, Privat Bank had a $5.5 billion hole in the bank's ledger, leading to the now state-owned bank going after Kolomoisky in courts in Ukraine, Switzerland, the UK, and the US. Kolomoisky and Boholubev were alleged to have committed large-scale and coordinated fraud. Despite past business ties to current President Volodymyr Zelensky, the change in leadership didn't help Kolomoisky. Kolomoisky, once deemed the most powerful businessman in the country, was allegedly stripped of his Ukrainian citizenship on July 20, according to Ukrainian media and several top officials and politicians. Now the oligarch has lost additional assets. Kolomoisky and Boholubev reportedly owned roughly 60% of the shares in Ukrtatnafta, one of the country's largest producers of oil products. About 42% of the Ukernafta oil company also belonged to companies associated with Kolomoisky. Bohushlayev arrested, Zhevago on the run. Thank you for listening. I will keep you informed of the hottest developments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.